Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. I was not scheduled to do this, but I got the calling to do it. And so we're going to church with Jules. Can I get an amen? I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. Hey, listen, man, I'm getting a lot of questions and they're coming in like in different areas of my social media and text messages and emails. And so I just thought to myself, you know what? Why don't you start a playlist where it's a literal Q&A with Jules? And so once a week, I figure on a Sunday or a Monday, I will come on and I will take all of the different questions that have been brought to me, sent to me, and I will touch upon them. And sometimes there might be a demonstration, like if there's really something that somebody needs to know. And then other times, like today, it's just going to be full on QA. I'm going to speak to the certain questions that I've received. This would be about product. It could even be like, hey, Jules, I'm working on a project, super loving those blue 8 millimeter melons, but I don't know if that's the right blue that I need. Could you show me, and I would be more than happy to bring those to the table and get a better shot of them with video and show you that. Today's questions are really product related, and so I just wanted to speak to them and be able to answer what's in front of me. Hey, Leanne. Hi, Wendy. Again, totally not planned. Sometimes I really just love it though when I get the little nugget in my heart and in my mind to just go live and be with you and speak to you. So let's see. First up, I do believe was Judy. Now, Judy, I met on my trip last year. I can't believe it hasn't been a full year, but it was last year that I went to the Czech Republic and I met the most amazing, wonderful people. And Judy from Chicago, Chi-Town, asked me the other day. So if you don't recall, or if you do recall, I'm working on the NAMTA project, the National Art Materials Trade Association project, where they asked 13 designers and I'm one of them. I'm doing that big old letter I. So I've just been like beating like a crazy woman. So I used my earring loom to make these really cool little nuggets. And Judy said or asked, hey, I'd really like to know how to take that and make an earring. And I was like, great point, great question. So let me show you. So there's a couple different things that you can do with that little, what I refer to as a jewel nugget. Pretty lightweight, actually. And like with this one, you could just literally put, let me get up to the camera. You could literally put a ear wire in there, clip that in and maybe plan it out a little bit better to maybe where there's not that decorative bead, the 4 millimeter bead, just all seed beads. And then literally easy peasy, right? It's an earring. The other thing that we did, Judy, I feel like I got to come down just a little bit here. I got very big hair on top of my head today. The other thing that I did was I took the crown icon, okay, the earring icon here with the holes. And by the way, Robert, if you're listening, I think I really would like, it's not a I think. I think we need more icons with the little holes to sew on because that is so cool. Such a cool idea. But that's what I did. So I sewed, see how I just sewed this piece to the crown earring icon. And then all I would need to do is put my fish hook. And then, yeah, this particular piece, because of all the gem stones, all the nuggets, it's heavy. So probably would want to scale back. Like this is super, super light. The 11 O's and the 4 millimeter nuggets super, super light. But these gem nuggets, unless you got like Wonder Woman powerful ears, they're really heavy. So Judy, that's one example of what you could do to turn the jewel nugget into an earring. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back like way back. We're talking, dare I say, 30 years. Like when I first started beading, I was on Aleen's Creative Living and we were making lots of stuff, right? So for instance, here's a great example. This is an earring that was from the bridal piece that both Tiffany Windsor and I worked on when we were at Aleen's. And so this is a great example where I just showed you, you could take that top loop and simply put an ear wire. Okay. This is longer. Again, looks like it's actually, oh, okay, there is a bigger guy in there. Still, I don't think it's more than a 4 millimeter round. This was made like really, we did a book on this like 30 years ago. So very simple where you could just take that one loop, put your earring wire on there and you've got an earring. So that's real easy. Here's another one, Judy. So, you can warp with wire, right? So this is warped with wire. And then these look like they're 5 millimeter fire polish. And then again, just made a little loop up there at the top with the wire and put a fish hook. So ear wire. It's actually pretty simple. Here's, boy, these are total old school. So here's an earring, Here's an earring. Here's an earring. Okay. Check that out. Very cool, right? So it's kind of like taking the little nugget and then making the fringe legs. This is sexy, right? And what we did here, again, this goes way back, is we added an ear back to it. Okay. So it's got like, it's got the clip on there. I mean, these were made a long time ago, but look how sturdy and fabulous, right? So that's an idea where you could just use some, I'm assuming, but it was Aleen's Creative Living, right? She had like a bazillion different types of glue. I don't know that this was attached with one of her glues. It very likely could have been E6000. I'm thinking maybe like probably a stronger one. So that's another way. This is, you might recognize this palette from Tiffany did this palette way back in the day. And again, it was in a book that we did from Aleen's Creative Living. And so she just took the same concept that I showed you in the one video, but instead of just kind of going side by side, literally just went around and around to make it more fluffy. And then she did, what is it called when you don't have an earring hole? Oh my heck, somebody knows. I'm losing. I just don't have the word, but you can see the flat piece, right, was glued in, and this kind of nasty because again, this is probably like a 30-year-old piece, but it's like really, really strong, right? So, yep, clip-ons maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a word when you don't have pierced ears. But anyway, that's an idea. And then the other thing you could always do if you didn't want to make earrings from this technique is that you could make a brooch. Again, we're going way back. I've been doing this for at least 30 years. Okay. And so these are just a little bit bigger. And what we did again, way back when, is this is a pin back. And so we glued that on. Aleen did come out with a strong glue similar to E6000, but I feel like it was later on versus earlier. So again, whether it's E6000 or the hypo cement, you could probably even try from Beadalon. But yeah, so these are just little pins and you can put the pin back on. So all of this is birthed from this concept. And I do have one more, Judy. Hold on. I do have one more. This might be the most common day way that we have been making earrings with the Jewel Loom or the other looms, and that is to use the slide connector. Whoop, little excited there. Okay. So what you would do, for instance, is you would just do one row of like 8/0s, and they're going to be hidden so it doesn't matter what color they are. And then you put the slide right over that, and the same thing at the bottom. Now, of course, this isn't a full funky one. I didn't have an example, but what you would have done on this one is left a row open in order to put the slide on. So I hope the visuals kind of give you a story. I feel like it's pretty, you all are pretty smart. So yeah, so Judy from Chicago, I hope that answers your question. Here's another little pair. And again, we just glued the flat back with, with the earring piece there. These have lost their little clips, but yeah. So lots of different ways that you can take that earring demonstration that I did and turn them into. These are just going to be on my NAMTA project. And so they're going to be the jewels in the crown that I'm working on for my letter I. So that's how come I didn't put anything on. So Wendy says they're clip-ons. Exactly. Why did I think they had to have a big fancy name? They don't. So cool. Okay, so Judy, I hope that helps you. I hope that answered your question. Now, Jen from Australia asked me, she said, "Hey, Jules." And I know Jen from way back in the day. Jen and I taught at the Art is You, singular words there, Art is You retreats. We taught at a few of them. I don't know, prior to 2020. And so I've known her for a while, and she's a phenomenal artist, Jen Crosley. You'll see her name on the Jewel Loom page. Not sure. I think she's in the group as well. Phenomenal artist. She does like mixed media art, and she's like all that in a ball of wax, like super cool. She wanted to know like what's the difference with all these bead boards? And I think that's a really great, relevant question. So you may or may not remember, I do believe that the Shield was the first bead board that we came out with. It used to be included with the purchase of the large Wisdom Warrior, and now it's available on its own. Okay, so we've got the Shield, we have the Jewel Loom bead board. Then I made one for Silver Silk that looks very similar, but is branded with Silver Silk, and it fits right underneath the Silver Silk loom. So it's kind of cool how, you can slide it in and out. We got the little crown bead board. We've got the Boo Boo Paw bead board. We have the little bead board I did, the circular one, when I went to Prague. So, and then most recently came out with the really big guy. Okay. And this one literally slides under the large Wisdom Warrior, and makes it really convenient for when you're working on hat bands or perhaps wrapped bracelets. So each one of them is a bead board that in some way, I would say that this one really has a purpose that's like it's a purpose-driven bead board. Can I get an amen? So I say that because of its size, and because when you are working on longer projects, like a hat band or like a wrap bracelet, you can literally have the length of the board. It's got the measuring tape up here, the engraved, lasered onto it, and then it's got all the little different sections. I love it when people reach out and they're like, well, in particular, like on the crown, they're like, "Jules, one of my pieces to my crown is missing." No, what it is over here, this cork. Okay, that's cork. And that's where you put your needle. So you'll see that on all of the Jewel Loom Wood Bead Boards, there's a cork placed somewhere on the big one here. It's right there. See that piece of cork? So that's for your needles. You put your needles in there when you are working on your project. Use the little grids to lay out your seed beads. Or again, like if you're working on a beaded wrap, this would be a great way to lay out the beads to see how they're going to actually look, in your bracelet. And then of course you have all these little pockets right here, all these little spaces where you would put your beads, and you could color code them depending on what you're working on. This one I just realized has 7. Yeah, it's got 7 areas for your beads. And I just came out with that rainbow bead kit that has 7 different colors. So that's a great example where I could put my red and my orange and my yellow and my green and my blue and my indigo and my purple. How do I know all the colors by heart? But I do. So this would be really awesome to have, like if you were going to do a hat band, a rainbow hat band with that kit. So yeah, so I think the gist of that, the overall answer, Jen, is that some of them are, what would you say? Some of them are just based on icons, right? Like everyone needs a crown. And so this one's really small. If I'm going to go and do, like a weaving event, I'm going to bring my small bead board. I'm going to bring my earring loom, and it's all very compact, right? So kind of like the psychology between the crown and the boo-boo paw and the round one from Prague, were that they were small and portable and could be taken with you. So if you're working on a smaller project, these ones are perfect. Everyday use on the Jewel Loom, this is great. You've got 6 different little areas here. It reminds you that we are weaving creativity and joy for the soul so that you stay happy. And again, it's got the big piece of cork for your needles. And the shield, was just all about your armor, waking up every morning and putting your shields on. So that's pretty much it about the bead boards. If you were going to start, I don't even know really, like if you had a large Wisdom Warrior, I'd say get the large bead board. I think if you've got an original Jewel Loom, then you have, a Jewel Loom bead board. If you're going to be traveling, you have the crown. So yeah, cool stuff. Okay, the next question, and you know what? I didn't ask, but let me just do this right now. I've not heard anyone say that they can't see me or hear me. So I'm assuming that I am seen and that I am heard. That's a t-shirt that needs to be made. So we'll just kind of give it a second here. So far we've had questions from 2 J's, right? Judy and Jen. Marianne says, I am seen and I am heard. So thank you. Yay. And Mel says, yeah, I can hear you. So next up was, I actually got this message this morning, a pretty, simple, basic, but very important question is, hey, what can you make on the Small Wisdom Warrior? And the answer is, it's got a length that will definitely accommodate a bracelet. And so, if your wrist is like, say, up to 8 to 9 inches, just depending on how you're going to finish it, you'll be able to make a bracelet. And then from there, everything else, right? So what's everything else? You could do multiple earrings, multiple rings, multiple pendants. So multiple barrettes, brooches, anything that's small, right? So it's definitely great for making the bracelets. I love using the 0.5 millimeter hemp tee cord. I've even used very fine, very thin artistic wire. So I like to not go over 24 gauge. 26 gauge fits really nice, but you got to remember that you're taking wire and wood, and you have to be very careful. Okay. But it's doable. You just have to be careful. A lot of people will graduate into the wood looms because they just want something that's a little bit more sturdy. Obviously, the original Jewel Loom is made out of plastic. She's so lightweight and she's got a wiggle butt like her mama. So, but now she has her stand, right? She does have her stand, so she doesn't have a wiggle as she used to. So we can really kind of keep her tame. I don't know about that. But yeah, so that this is the new Jewel Loom stand. And so it's just, yeah, it's been a blessing. So we're so happy about that. The next, probably most question I get a lot is in regards to warping on the front and the back of the large Wisdom Warrior and the large Sun Weaver Goddess looms. Okay. So here's the crazy thing. Every one of my large Wisdom Warriors has a project on it right now. And to my surprise, I only have one, and I don't know how. I don't even know how. I only have one large Sunweaver Goddess, and she's got stuff on her right now. She's warped for my NAMTA project, but I think I could still speak to it. Okay. What we did was we put the grids on the front, and let me just do a little peekaboo here. Okay. And you could see the grids are down here at the bottom. Grids are up here at the top. And what we did was we were like, well, what do we do with the back? It's an awful lot of wood, a lot of space. Maybe we should put grids on the back. Okay. And up until recently, they were thicker. And I don't remember now. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not going to speak to that because I can't remember what the conversation was. But let me just back up. The whole gist of this was that there was all this area. And I thought, well, what if somebody wants to make something longer, and really, I wasn't looking at this space in the end being an issue, because for me in my creative mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, when you take a piece that's been warped on the front and all the way back around the backside of the Sunweaver, you have this space that we call the space in between. And I just thought it was like this most magical space ever, like, oh my gosh, how can we not love that, because it really was different. It lent itself to, okay, hold on. It lent itself, I got to move a couple things around here. Whoa. So this is a great example. Okay, this was made on the Sunweaver, the large Sunweaver Goddess. Okay. And if you look in the middle, I'm going to try to hold this up differently. If you look in the middle, this is where the two ends would meet. And then all of this was the space in between. All right. So there was a gap. And I thought, well, that's just perfect for some sort of creativity. And so what I did was, I came back in here and I just did some very simple knots, some Raya knots. And I took different fibers, and then I took a piece of this really cool velvet and I weaved it into that space that's in between. So on the large Sunweaver Goddess, you're going to have, like, what is that? Like maybe 1.5 inches, no more than 2 inches, right? Where there's this gap. And it's where the creativity and the magic happens. So that's, people will say, well, can you do a wrap bracelet from the top of the Sunweaver goddess all the way down and to the back. Yeah, we've done it. And again, you're going to have this small area where there is a gap. And so you're going to have to get creative. Like, am I going to sew some things in there? Am I going to weave? Am I going to use fibers? I just posted a picture of that really pretty wrap bracelet I did. It had some silver embellishments, and then a bunch of Swarovski pieces that I sewed in. So I love the gap in between. And it's just for what I do with these looms and where I'm coming from, it's just it's just part of the story. So that's on the large sun goddess. I guess I need to place an order for another one. I can't believe I only have one. I'm like, are they hiding? But no, I don't. I don't know. With the move and everything, who knows? Okay, so now with the large Wisdom Warrior Loom, where most people, including Kelly Dell, who we absolutely love from Off the Beaded Path, who loves the Wisdom Warrior, we also have a gap. We can weave, warp, from the top here all the way to the bottom, and then all the way around, and then to the back. And we have talked about different things, maybe to change it up so that there would be a continued piece. And, in this moment, there's just always going to be a gap. And so if you do want to do something longer than a half band, your choices could be that you do 2 long pieces and then you sew the ends together, or you do 1 long continuous piece, just knowing that you're going to have a gap. It just is what it is. I think in the future we'll work maybe on something that allows it to be a continuous roll, but we've also sold a lot of these in this format, and so I want to honor that. And I don't want people who have bought and invested in the large Wisdom Warrior to be like, oh, So I'd rather just kind of like work on how do we make this work and then kind of go from there. So so on the large Wisdom Warrior and the large Sunweaver, you're going to have the space in between. And I just would say, would challenge you to just get creative with it. There's plenty of room on the top for your hat bands, your chokers, your wrap bracelets. But if you want to get into something longer, like a belt, then just know that, maybe that's where you have your big icon, your big belt buckle, right? So, okay. It says, Jewel, how can I don't know Anissa, you'll have to like give me a little bit more. It just says, Jewel, how can I? So I don't know what how can I is. But hey, so I think for the most part, those were a lot of the pressing questions that I was getting. And I'm just like, okay, I can't find all this information because there's just like platforms and posts and emails and text messaging. And if you do have a question that you want me to speak to, go ahead and text. Let me get the banner up here for texting. I have to be a big girl when Joan's not here and find all the things. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, there you go. So you can email hello@jewelloom.com with your question, and or text me at 805-768-0568. Okay. And again, this is going to be about product related types of questions. So again, Jen asked, hey, what's the difference between all the bead boards? Awesome question. Judy said, hey, I'd really like to see how you took your little jewel nuggets that you're making for your NAMTA project and turned them into earrings. So we showed Judy how that happened. Alice asked about what can I make on the Small Wisdom Warrior? And I spoke to that. And then a couple other people, like I had mentioned, have asked about warping on the large Sunweaver and the large Wisdom Warrior from the front all the way to the back. So those are the types of questions, in addition to, again, like, Jules, I really can't make out what that bead looks like. Could you do a quick, on your next Q&A, could you put the camera on it and, try to give us a better example of, the color. I do try to take good pictures, but sometimes it's hard. So it's not about customer service questions. You can still, you can text or email about those, but that's not what this would be for. This is very product specific. The earring looms are on the website. Yes, Jules, I need the earring looms. Yes. So the earring looms are going to be under Wisdom Warrior Looms. So what I tried to do, and I am always open to suggestions, I try to keep the menu in the shop like straightforward and simple. I get personally really overwhelmed when there's like a lot of choices. So I like to like hone it in. So you're going to see Jewel Loom, which means that the Jewel Loom and related products are in that category. And then you're going to see Wisdom Warrior, Sunweaver, Silver Silk, Boo Boo Loom. I've got one category for the round looms, which if we ever were to add another shaped loom, then I would probably say shaped looms. Right now it says round looms. I think that's all the looms, right? Is that all the looms? So Anissa, go to Wisdom Warrior at jewelloom.com, right? You're going to go to jewelloom.com, and then in the menu, it's going to say Wisdom Warrior. The earring loom has the Wisdom Warrior design on it. So she's there. Okay. Yeah. And Jenny says, I'm so excited. I have 3 things in my cart waiting for Thursday when I get paid. Yes. Yes. And listen, I understand paydays. A lot of people only get paid on certain times and stuff like that. If there's ever something that you really would like to be a part of, a sale, but you just can't in that moment because you got to wait 5 days or whatever, just let me know. Just let me know. And, I'm always good like that. I always like to help you out. Pleasantly surprised to see you today. So am I. I'm getting ready to go to lunch with friends. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to answer these questions on online. So yeah. So I think that's about it. I'm going to make a playlist that just says Q&A with Jules. And then every week when I do these, I will just save them to that. That's going to be in the YouTube channel where the playlist will be Q&A with Jules. And then as I do these, I will save them to that playlist. There's nowhere to really save and structure them on the Facebook page. So, we kind of keep the education organized over there on the Jewel Loom YouTube channel. So, and I would just say the last thing is that if you have a problem with your original Jewel Loom, just as a reminder, you can email sales@beadalon.com. Okay. And so that'll save you time. If you have an issue with your original blue Jewel Loom, you just go straight to Beadalon and they will take care of the matter. So I think that's it. Thank you for being here on a Sunday at the last minute. Just wanted to make sure those questions were addressed. And I probably will post the link so that the folks that have asked the questions can, if they're not here right now, they can go and watch. I'll see you Thursday. And you don't know, like I may pop in again. And if I'm working on my NAMTA projects, I might just turn the camera on and just be here beading. I don't know if that would if you would be interested in that, but I always feel like if I'm doing something, why not? Why not turn the camera on? And if you want to watch my hands and how I maneuver, then it's a party. It's a weave on. So, okay. I'm gonna go do some I gotta put my shoes on. I still have to put shoes on to go to lunch. I mean, I don't have to, but I'm kind of thinking I probably should. So anyway, I love you. Have a beautifully blessed rest of your Sunday. And then I will definitely see you again. And yeah, think about what your product related questions might be for next week. Okay. Yay. Thanks, everyone. Okay, that's it.